Well, today I'm going to tell you guys something I didn't want to have to ever say. And you guys have seen me film so many videos right in this room right back here. And of course, this was the original colubrid room that I built to breed all the colubrids when I first moved into this building. And these racks used to be completely full with colubrids. I used to get all the eggs in this particular room here. Of course, baby racks on this side. And we still have some colubrids over here. The majority of the colubrids, of course, are now down in the basement. And of course, I built this room a couple years ago to breed all the colubrids in down here, just to kind of keep everything here. The plan was to eventually redo the upstairs of the other place with more offices, and that still hopefully can be the plan. And I spoke a little bit the other day about making some difficult decisions. After long and hard thinking about it, we are going to decide to sell off most of the colubrids. Now, I'm not just talking about one or two colubrids. I'm talking about the vast majority of the colubrids. Of course, this is just an aberrant California king snake. And the thing that's so difficult, guys, is that I either hatched the majority of these animals and raised them from babies, or bought them as babies from other people, which is really difficult because I've had them my whole life. So I remember them being little tiny babies all the way to adulthood, and then finally producing babies for us here. So it's very hard, you know what I mean? I started really working with reptiles, working with colubrids. I mean, sure, I had a Burmese python, I had a ball python, boa, and stuff like that. But when it came to actually breeding snakes, the first snake that I actually bred was a corn snake. And really, I was always a colubrid guy. This happens to be a Kunisar Island rat snake from Japan. Absolutely wonderful snake. I mean, look how beautiful it is. And it's been a few years since I produced these guys. And this is a fresh animal that we raised up. For the first year, we thought we were going to produce Kunisar Islands again. And there's going to be a handful of colubrids that I'll hang on to, but a very small number of them. And the reason that we have to kind of sell off some of these animals is because we have to prioritize, right? There's going to be tough decisions that have to be made over the coming months because of me maybe being a little bit out of the picture for a period of time. Hopefully it won't be that long, but also I don't want to put that pressure on Lori, right? And myself and Lori do the majority of the work when it comes to colubrid breeding, egg laying, hatching, all that type of stuff. You know, and with an animal here like a scaleless Texas rat, it's just absolutely wonderful. You know, I remember when we got our first scaleless Texas rat snakes, there was only a handful of them in the country. I think we're the second or third people to ever get them, and I just think that they're absolutely amazing. Maybe I'll hang on to a pair of these guys, but I have a pretty big group of them. So the majority of them are probably going to have to go. And trust me, guys, it's going to tear my heart apart to see these animals go. We have to make decisions that are best for our future, and of course my health, number one, right? But not just my health, also Lori, right? Because there's going to be plenty days that Lori is going to have to be taking care of me, and not going to be here. And the last thing we want to do is neglect these animals and not work with them. It's an opportunity for you guys, if you want to start breeding snakes, to actually get into some really truly amazing animals. I mean, take a look at this scissors crossing black and white striped California king snake. Absolutely wonderful. Ooh, and he just tried to take a little nip out of me. This guy's the one that always seems to always want to bite because it's always hungry. It's just a really cool animal. The fact is that these guys are literally brumated, ready to produce. You could be producing eggs in 4, 5, 6 weeks from now, which is just really absolutely going to be amazing. I mean, it's an opportunity that obviously I don't want to do. I don't want to do it. I want to produce the eggs myself and hatch all those babies. And like I said, we'll keep a handful of colubrids just because I can't get rid of everything. I've got to have something to look forward to here. And again, we're going to keep our boas and pythons and our leopard geckos and our New Caledonian geckos. It's just that this was the room that took a tremendous amount of work from me and Lori, and we have to kind of downsize. I mean, this is a Halloween Pueblan milk snake right here that produced some wicked babies last year. So pairing this up with another animal that's going to produce babies just like last year, it's a great thing that you could potentially produce. Look at this ultra mel scaleless corn snake. Now, we have a bunch of scaleless corn snake stuff. It's a great project. They're really popular. They do really well. We're going to keep a handful of them, just a few of them, because they're just so incredible. An animal like this is probably going to be one that's going to be for sale. I hate even telling you guys that I have to do this, and I'm not telling you this like I'm giving up somehow. This isn't about giving up. This is about prioritizing. We want to keep the reptarium going. We want to keep BHB going the best we can, and we have to realize that they're going to have to make some sacrifices, and hopefully, you know, in 2, 3 years, whatever the case may be, when I'm 100% healthy again, I'm going to be able to raise all these animals back up, and I promise you I'll have a great colubrid collection again in the future. But for now, as much much as it hurts my heart, they have to go. Now, I think I'm going to actually keep the palmetto corn snake group just because, again, I have to really pick and choose. I mean, we probably want to get down to maybe 20 adults. I mean, think about that. We have hundreds of adults right now. We got to get down to about 20 adult colubrids to really make it manageable. We could still breed those, get, you know, maybe 15 clutches, maybe even double clutch and get 30 clutches and hatch some really beautiful babies. Palmetto corns are definitely some of my favorites, so I don't know if we'll sell any of them. I think we have a relatively good group, so we might sell a few of them. And just so you know, if you guys are interested in it, number one, it would be helping me out to try to really lighten the load for Lori and myself on this thing. But also, if you want to get into breeding snakes and you're like, my gosh, this is a chance for me to get into it without having to raise stuff up. Prime animals ready to breed. You can go to bhbreptiles.com. You guys know I don't like to pitch my stuff. I'm never trying to sell animals like that. That's not what I do. But this is a little bit of a different situation. If you want to get into colubrids, you want to breed some stuff, you want to produce some snakes, bhbreptiles.com. They're all going to be available by the time this video comes out. And I'm assuming that a lot of them are going to go pretty quick. So you definitely want to jump on it as quick as you can. Slowly over the next day or two, go through and see which animals that I'm actually going to keep. I remember when I first saw the coral snow corn snake, you know, that pink snake. It was just polygenically bred to produce more and more pink generations after generations. This has been a project we've been working on literally like, I don't know, 12, 13 years. So it's going to be difficult to see a lot of these go. I may keep a pair. To see these go, the animals that I remember working on literally for all these years, it's going to be difficult, but I hope that they're going to go to people that really love them as much as I do, have success breeding them, and maybe it starts your journey into breeding reptiles, and it'll actually help you. When I'm ready to do it again, you buy my snakes and you're producing them and you're doing well, maybe you'll do me a solid and send me a pair of babies back when I'm ready for them. Back at you with my friends over at Factor. Fast, easy, and healthy meals that you can make literally in 2 minutes. Today we actually have creamy Parmesan chicken. I mean, what's better than that? In literally 2 minutes, I'm going to be eating. Power up for springtime with America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. Get nutritious, chef-prepared meals delivered straight to your door, leaving your time and energy to tackle everything else on your to-do list. Factor has delicious, flavor-packed meals to help you live the fullest. Choose from keto, vegan, plus veggie, calorie smart, and protein plus options on the menu each week. Prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians, each meal has all the ingredients you need to feel satisfied all day long. And if you want to cut back on takeout, get Factor instead. Not only is Factor cheaper than takeout, but meals are ready faster than restaurant delivery. Put the time and money towards planning activities for when the weather warms up. Get Factor and enjoy eating without the hassle. Simply choose your meals and enjoy fresh, flavor-packed meals delivered to your door, ready in just 2 minutes, no prep, no mess. Head to Factor75.com or click the link below and use code BrianB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Of course, my favorite part of all of this is a little bit of food. That's good. Head over to Factor75.com and use my code BrianB50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. We had the very first albino Arizona mountain king snakes, or pyromelanas, in the country. I bought them from a guy that had gotten them from 2 different pet shops in Kansas City, bred them together, and popped out an albino. And then about a year later, he sold me the entire group. And the journey of producing these guys has been so amazing. And now, you know, other people are producing them too. They went from being super expensive to now they're like maybe $500-600, but still a really cool animal. It's going to be really difficult again to see something like this go. I don't know if I'm going to keep maybe 1 or 2, maybe possibly, I'm not sure. Again, that's going to be the big thing, and I know it'll be a little bit of a battle between me and Lori, like, no, I want to keep that pair, and like I said, we've agreed we don't want to keep more than maybe 20 or 30 colubrids, so it's going to be hard to narrow that 20 or 30 down, there's no doubt about it. But Arizona mountain king snakes have a real soft spot in my heart because I started this project, and to see the very first ones that we ever produced and started to sell, it's just cool, you know, and it's going to be hard to give that up. But again, it's just for a short time, guys. I'm going to get better, I'm going to get past this, and then I'm going to grow this colony again, bigger and stronger than ever. Mexican black king snakes. Yeah, I think we're going to sell the majority, if not all, the group of these guys, and you know how popular they became. Over the last few years, they literally went from animals that were like $60 up to $200-300 a piece, and they are so in demand. So we have a decent group of Mexican black kings. Some are young, like this is a young female that this was her first year ever producing, and that's the thing. The vast majority of our colubrids are under, say, 5 or 6 years old. Yeah, we have some that are in their 12 or 15 year range, but we were kind of in the cycle where we kind of raised up a new group of animals over the last 4 or 5 years. And that's what goes on with colubrids when you're breeding them, is they typically breed for anywhere from like 12 to 15 years. And then you have to kind of raise up a whole new colony of colubrids because they kind of just gotten old and they stopped producing. Well, we're in that kind of recycle mode where the new colubrids were just coming online and actually producing for us, which is pretty cool. And this guy is musking on me, and ooh, doggy, that doesn't smell good, I can guarantee you that. But the thing is this brand new female, first time producing, she's going to produce for another 10 or 12 years. I've loved these T-positive albino Nelson's milk snakes since the first time I ever saw them. I think when I first bought them, they were like $3,000. Now they're just a few $100 or something like that. I'm not even sure what the price is, but they're not that expensive. And it's one of those things that it's got this purple instead of white, right? So it's tyrosine positive, meaning it just has a little bit of the purple melanin that is the part of the black pigment, right? It's a protein in melanin when melanin is black pigment, and it shows through. What's interesting about these guys is there's other things like retics you haven't, but interesting, when you breed the T positive to a normal T negative or a normal albino, about half the babies come out T negative and half the babies come out T positive, which is kind of a cool thing and kind of unique to the albino Nelsons. And we have a nice group, again, young adults that are just breeding for the first time this year, and they're going to be on the chopping block, which is just really tough. But I want to tell you guys, don't feel sorry for me about this. I mean, yeah, does it hurt and does it suck? And am I bummed out about it? Of course I am. But at the same time, it's just something we have to do, right? You know, it's just, you know, part of the process. There's going to be a lot of things that we have to decide over the coming months that are going to be difficult. Moving the colubrids, it's a difficult thing. I'm not going to lie to you, but you'll actually be helping me, not hurting me. So if you're buying these colubrids, don't feel like, oh, I feel bad for Brian. Think I'm helping Brian to take that load off of him and Lori. And although it'll stink not producing thousands of baby colubrids this year, I hope I can still produce maybe a couple hundred or 300 colubrids and see those little babies hatch. Are going to be absolutely amazing. And this is kind of cool in a way that it gives you an opportunity to potentially see the things that I see all the time. I don't know, in a way I'm trying to look at it as positive as I can. Yeah, is it going to hurt? But at the same time, I'm giving other opportunities to maybe fulfill their dream to start getting into snake breeding or getting into the reptile business or whatever the case is. And on the other hand, it's helping me reduce the stress and load that I'm going to have so that I can really focus on the things that matter and also focus on my health. And this is a perfect example of what they call a hypoplebin, but it's really almost the same mutation as the T-positive Nelsons that I just showed you guys. But the difference is this is a recessive mutation. There's no actually T-negative albino plebins. There are some that are hybridized with Nelsons, but there's no pure albino plebin milk snakes. So you have to actually breed this and produce heterozygous animals that are normal looking but carrying the hypo trait, and then breed them back and you end up getting that same thing. But it basically has the same thing, right? Where it's got this kind of purplish grayish hue where the black should be. So some of that pigment in the black melanin is actually missing. This is a little bugger right here. This is actually a rhino rat snake. Oh, he just got me good too. Silly monkey, what is wrame with you? What? Oh, he just took out the... Jeez, this guy's like a little machine gun here. Whoa, calm down, little buddy. Well, if anyone wants a rhino rat that isn't exactly going to be pet tame, I think that we might have this little guy available. What an absolutely amazing animal, though.
This happens a lot now.
This is what they call a silver queen ghost corn snake. So it's an aneurystic, which is a black corn snake. It's a hypomelanistic, meaning it's lacking some of the black pigment. And then it's a silver queen, which means that it's just kind of designedly bred to be a little bit prettier than just a normal ghost corn snake. And the one thing I will say is that we're going to try to price these animals really reasonable. Obviously, the idea is to move them quick enough so that you can get them and actually breed them and produce eggs this year. If we mark them too high, they may sell too slow. Then by the time you get them, they might not actually be able to produce for them. So in a way, if you think about it, most likely, under most circumstances, if you buy a pair or a trio or 10 or however many you buy of these guys, chances are in the next 4 or 5 months, you're actually going to make money on it. So it's going to pay for the actual adult animals, and you're going to have enough babies to sell to actually be profitable in a short period of time. So that's why I typically never want to sell off adult stuff, because I'm like, well, why would I sell it? I can make more money keeping them, right? If I sell a pair of snakes, say for $300, and they produce $500 worth of babies, you're making $200 profit within a matter of just 3 or 4 months. So that's why we typically never sell stuff off. But unfortunately, you guys understand that this is a unique situation and we have to do what we have to do. And again, I'm not 100% sure what those 20 or 30 snakes I'm going to keep is. I'm hoping that I can keep at least a pair of these guys, which are the Granite Mex Mex or San Luis Potosi King snakes. Again, they're kind of special to me because we produced some of the early ones way back 15 years ago. Been working with the project, really refining it, making them look really absolutely amazing. So to lose that 15 years that I put into them would be a real bummer to get rid of all of them. But at some point, I'm going to have to say, all right, this is it. I can't keep every single snake. We have a cap. maybe 30 snakes tops, something on that line. But granted, Mex, I sure hope Lori lets me keep a pair of these. One of the things I definitely told Lori I wanted to keep was actually the pied Musarana rat snakes. You might have seen that it almost just bit me, and the reason it almost bit me is that these guys are actually snake eaters in the wild. So it's smelling that snake must that happened from the Mexican black king snake, and it's like, oh, I can eat your finger. I can't see getting rid of these guys. I just have a small group of them, but they are just so absolutely amazing that I think I'm going to try to keep these guys. They're not ready to breed yet. Probably another year before they'll get up to size to breed, but I tell you what, I can't get rid of that animal. I am going to keep all of my Boega, all of my mangrove snakes. Yes, they are a colubrid, but we actually keep these guys in the python room, the dungeon, right? And so everything in the dungeon, for now at least, is going to stay. We're not planning on selling anything down there. It's all being taken care of. With Jessica, Maria, and Alyssa, they really do a good job. So as long as they can take care of it, and Lori and I don't have to be down there working on it all the time, there's no real reason to sell it off, right? It's just about selling the colubrids so that Lori and I don't have the burden of taking care of them during a time where we might not be able to take care of them, if that makes sense. So the Boega, including the divergent, stay here. Another one that we're definitely going to keep as well, actually, are the file snakes, right? So it seems like every time I'm thinking about it, we're keeping more and more stuff. Certainly going to go over, I think, that 20 or 30 mark. But the file snakes are a unique animal. I've never bred them. It took me several years to get the first ones. I think we have 3 males and 4 or 5 females. So I'm going to keep this group up and actually hopefully breed them in a couple years. They are just so cool and so unique. I can't see giving up on that project. So file snakes, stay here. There'll also be some animals that we're actually raising up, so they're not breeders, right? This is actually a butter corn snake that's actually het for scaleless, so scaleless butter corn snake. Again, we're raising it up to breed it down the road. Still probably a year, maybe a year and a half away from actually breeding. And we have probably 100, maybe even 200 snakes that are in this category that we're raising for future breeders, most of which are actually unfortunately going to be sold, which sucks because I love these guys and I love so many of them. I remember when we hatched them and pulling them aside saying, I want to raise this up, I want to raise that up. I really anticipated, because my whole career has been this way, I anticipated getting them to adult size, breeding them and seeing babies from them. But unfortunately, in this case, that's just not going to happen. This is another one. This is a ghost striped corn snake. Now, this is a triple recessive mutation, meaning it's hypo, it's aneurystic, and it's striped. Those are all recessive mutations. Again, 3 recessive mutations in any snake is something difficult to get, and I just love them to death. I think they're super cool. But again, these are all those raisers that we're going to raise for future stock, and we will. But listen, again, don't feel bad about it. Yeah, am I bummed out? Of course I'm bummed out. Dude, I would think this was ever going to happen? Absolutely not. I never saw this coming down the road on any level. But again, here when I get past this and I need to beat this and put all my energy into beating this and also put all my energy into things like the Reptarium and hopefully the expansion into the aquarium, I can always raise these snakes up again. In 2 or 3 years when I get on the other side of this and I make sure that I beat this, I can buy all these snakes again. I can raise them all up again, and I'll be producing colubrids again in another 3, 4, or 5 years, whatever it'll be. Right now, it has to be the decision that we have to make. And I hope that you guys not only understand that, but if you happen to be in the market and you want to get into breeding, it's a great opportunity for you. So guys, obviously not the news I really wanted to share with you. Never thought I would actually be making a video like this. It's just the way it has to be, but I promise you I'm going to fight this as hard as I can. I'm going to get to the other side of this, and things are going to be okay. So just hang in there with me. And again, if you want something, bhbreptiles.com. You guys are going to get some great deals.